Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome once again back to the United Regional Chamber's weekly update. We try to bring on some interesting guests and some interesting subjects, and I get to talk to one of my favorite people, the kindest woman that you'll ever meet in our entire area, Miss Kelly Fox. Hey, Miss
You are
Kelly.
so nice. Thank you, Jack. I love spending time with you.
Well, welcome, and we're going to talk today about Christmases for kids. I know that's very, very close to you, and we'll talk a little bit about you in a minute because I understand that you'll be leaving the organization for a little while. Um, but,
Yes, we'll get there.
okay, first off, tell us about Kelly. Who's Kelly?
I'm sorry. Who's Kelly? Um, I've been in the area, since 1986. I started volunteering in 1993, and I have been so lucky to be able to work with so many different nonprofits in the area as a volunteer, and really get to know the needs of the community and help over the last more than 30 years now to hopefully make an impact and help especially the children in the area who are the most vulnerable among us. Professionally, I'm a certified financial planner and been in practice for 30 years, and I'm really lucky that I get to give back to the community in so many different ways.
Well, tell us, how did Christmases for Kids start?
Actually, it started with Dave Kane, and as he tells the story when he was a little boy, um, his dad was not in the picture, and his mom was not making a lot of money, and they needed. He always hoped that they would get the help that they needed, and of course, back then, that was not really going to happen. So he planned that when he got to be old enough to be able to help other children that were in the position that he was in when he was little, that he would figure something out. And so actually the way it started was just on his radio show at WARA back in 1983. And he just started reading lists of gifts that he knew that children wanted for Christmas, that other if the community didn't come together and make some donations, that these kids weren't going to be able to get anything. And so it started on his radio show, and it was worked that way for about 10 years. And then when I joined the organization at that point, we were working more closely with other nonprofits and agencies in the area, such as Department of Children and Families. In 2006, we started working with New Hope, Justice Resource Institute, which takes care of all of the scatter sites, we call them. That would be homeless families that are living in like small apartments in the area, and other organizations, Robin Children's programs, Kennedy Donovan Center. So over the years, more and more organizations, agencies have partnered with us, and we now will take care of about 1,000 children again this year. Just in Again, we started with just Attleboro, North Attleboro, and then we added in Norton, and then we added in Seekonk, Dighton, Rehoboth last year. Plainville got added in. So we're finding that we have the capacity where we have about 150 volunteers now every year, as opposed to the maybe 12 or so in 1993 when I started. Um, and I'm very proud of that, that there are so many people that want to come and help, and they help year over year over year. So that tells me that folks feel that they're valued, that their opinion, that their time is valued, and that they want to come back and keep helping. All my they're like family. We may volunteer together at Christmas, but we are together all year at all kinds of events and visiting with each other and catching up. And it's really nice how we've been able to create these lifelong friendships over a common goal.
Well, I've been very fortunate. You've let me volunteer for a little bit here, a couple of years now.
We
And
love having you.
I see all the wonderful things that are done. I do get to see the faces of some of the family members when they get their gifts, and a few when they come in to talk to your team. It is just, it makes you feel good. Just being a volunteer makes you feel good.
It's
And
magic.
there's
It really
such
is.
a need out there right now. I will bet we probably get more than 1,000 requests this year. But with the team that you've put together and the very very generous communities that we live in, I think we'll be able to take care of that again this year.
No
So
question. No
how
question.
how can people help?
So there's lots of ways you can plug in. If you wanted to make just a monetary donation, there's some people don't like to shop, and that's okay. You can make a cash donation at Rockland Trust in Attleboro, at Bluestone Bank in Plainville and Norton. So you can just pop in. We've got bank accounts set up there in all three of those branches. So that's an easy, easy way to help. And then we will use that money to fill in on any children's wish lists that's still outstanding. We have some one-day events. So if you want to come in and you can come in on November 23rd at the drop-off center on the third floor at Emerald Square Mall. You can match up to a child that day, um, which is really great. We'll just make a photocopy of the wish list, and that way you can go ahead and do your shopping. Of course, we're hoping to get everything back to us by December 7th, which feels like a short turnaround time, but we're hoping that, that couple of weeks would be enough. If you want, if you're a runner or you like run, walk, stroll, you can join us at the Turkey Trot,
Yep.
starting in downtown North Attleboro at Town Hall on December 1st. And then one of the things that is so much fun, and I was kind of thinking I might rope you in to help me with this one, is
Oh.
so here we are publicly. Say no to me now, Jack.
You got me.
So the Attleboro um, Police Association has always done a toy drive for us, and it's been at Burlington Toad Factory, although I think now it's just called Burlington Store in South Attleboro. Well, and Santa's there, and people fill the paddy wagon. It's great. So this year, they've decided that they wanted to do a second site in South Attleboro, the other Burlington, which is on Route 1A, and we have a dedicated volunteer at each spot. Well, we've only ever had a dedicated volunteer at one spot. Now we need a dedicated volunteer at the second spot. And so that might be a really fun thing for you to do if you're around that day, is to go and hang out. And Santa will be there and at both places. And we fill the paddy wagon. We get hundreds of toys that day. And it really helps us just to finish filling those bags. It's amazing, like the things that come in that people buy while they're out shopping, and then just drop them off and fill the paddy wagon. And when that comes in, there you go. And when that comes in, as we're unloading it, literally the elves are going, "Oh my goodness, I've been waiting for this, whatever toy it might be." And we're really and it comes out of the paddy wagon and right into a bag. It's absolutely amazing. We have so much fun with it, especially if the weather's pretty good. So that's coming up. Um, Other things that people can do if you want. Obviously, the Sunday before Thanksgiving, the phones will open. We'll be able to announce that phone number in a week or so as we get that nailed down. And then we also have boxes all around the community. So if you're out and about and you just want to drop a toy off at H&'s Garage in North Attleboro, or Emery Board in Plainville, or Elite Boxing and Fitness in North Attleboro, the Dentist of Attleboro, I'm trying to think of what else there is. There's quite a few. I don't want to miss somebody. Family Medicine, both in Attleboro and North Attleboro. So you could Faye Jackson's law firm, the Chimney Suite, Maple Street Learn and Play in Attleboro. So there's lots of places that you could just go and drop something off, and that collection will make its way to us. Just a general toy, or a coat, or a new pair of winter boots, anything that you would like to give that would help, a little person's Christmas morning be brighter.
Well, that's one of the things that I wanted to bring up. Okay, you talk about the wish list. A lot of times when people are donating to different organizations, one of the unique things I find about Christmases for Kids is when the wish list is filled out, they don't just get all random stuff. The most important stuff they get: winter coats, boots, pajamas, things like that. But then they also ask for a particular toy, their favorite toy, and 9 times out of 10, the little elves at Christmases for kids, they find that toy. So the child or the adult gets something that they really need. This is mainly for the kids, but I know that our little elves sometimes stuff things in there for mom and dad because they deserve something too.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's interesting because one of the other companies that we do so much work with is An Unlikely Story. So we have our Christmas tree up there. And for me, one of the things that I think is so important for children is to have books in the house. And so we have this Christmas tree set up. We always do a big order directly through the bookstore that's already in house. So that way we can make sure that every child gets a book. And oftentimes we'll see a notation that said they don't really like to read, and the elves will look at what else this child likes. So maybe they really love basketball, or maybe they really like science, or maybe they really love outer space. So we try to find a book that maybe will catch their attention. It doesn't have to be a novel. It doesn't have to be, not a fiction. It can be an autobiography. It can be anything, but something that will hopefully capture their attention and get their hands on a book, because it's so important to get them to read and find things, I think, that's of interest. And then maybe they'll pick up another book and another book and another book.
It helps them become lifelong readers. I know that's so important today because the kids are on these phones, they're on these iPads or whatever it might be, but there's nothing like a good old fashioned book. There really
I
isn't.
love it. You're absolutely
So,
right.
what are some of the things that we need more of this year? Is it winter coats? Is it winter boots? Give us a little
We can
idea.
always use coats and boots. Boots tend to be our nemesis. It's tough to find them. Within a month, they're going to be gone. We won't be able to find more boots. We've been known to go into stores and just essentially buy everything there is because we've got sizes we're trying to still match up. But the things that we never have enough of are blankets. One of the things that I talk about a lot is that when it starts to really get cold and parents are trying to figure out ways to economize, a really easy way to try to save some money is to turn the heat down. So we try to give almost every child a blanket, and it doesn't have to be like a blanket that would go in their bed, but something they could wrap themselves up in and just be comfortable and cozy. There's 2 women that literally spend all year knitting for us, and so they have made a lot of blankets, but 2 people can't make 1,000 blankets,
Right.
although I think they give it a good try. Um, so blankets for sure. The other thing that we never seem to have enough of are outdoor toys, because even though it's December, we have enough days like this, they're still gonna be outside playing in December. We like to try to get kids off the screens, as we mentioned earlier. So basketballs, footballs, soccer balls, just kickballs, baseballs, anything to get them out running around. Um, we don't we don't give out bicycles, but we certainly would give out scooters. But I think any with helmets, so anything that is an outdoor toy would be welcome, absolutely, because we never have enough of those.
Well, one of the things, as of last year, you had to move from the old high school in Attleboro to the spot in the Emerald Square Mall.
Yeah,
And that's kind of one of the reasons why you don't do bikes anymore because storage is such a huge issue and such a
yeah.
problem. But the wizards that put those shelvings together, I don't know how they had the patience to do that. It was like Jenga, um, and they did such a great job. Um, it's really
Yeah,
exciting when I see the people come in, and I get to see
so
both
you
sides.
see.
I get to see the people who drop stuff off, as well as the ones that get the gifts.
Come and pick up. Wait till you see, because we've actually rearranged a little bit, so we got even more shelving in there than we had last year, because we needed it. We need the space.
Yes.
We do keep some inventory because a lot of stuff comes to us late. Even though you'd think that we have until December 24th, we really don't, because we have to get it to the parents, we've got to get it to social workers, and then the elves, we need a little bit of time to get our own Christmases together. So, I know that a lot of folks are surprised when I tell them that we're handing stuff out the week of December 14th, but or 15th. But I think that we need to get it. There's a process to get it from us to the social workers to the parents, or us to the parents. Um, and so the parents can then, get their own Christmas prepared, do the wrapping and get it under the tree, and then we can do our own thing. But yeah, it is quite a process.
It is a process, and I've witnessed this. I don't know how you do it because there's literally 1,000 families that get Christmas gifts over this. You've got a great crew that has been with
Great
you for
crew.
many, many years.
Yeah.
Then a few of us that floated in a few years ago, um, but it's just such a great program here, and unfortunately, it just keeps growing and growing because the need
Yeah.
is getting bigger and bigger every year.
It's true, and it kind of morphs, that the people that we have folks that just need help. They've needed help for 10 years, and then some parents that are in and out, after just a year or 2. Returning parents, as you know, need to do classes in order to stay in the program, and the purpose of that is to help them, be able to stand on their own 2 feet, maybe give them a little bit of support on, financial education, or how to look for a job, or how to polish their resume, or do some interview building skills, or even just things that feel like softer but are really important, like managing stress, managing children's stress. If you've got children with maybe a special need, you might want to be part of a class where they're talking to the parents about how to work with the school department if you've got a special needs child. So we've tried to come up with really a broad range of topics so that parents can plug in to the places where they need the help and support. And we require 8 to 12 hours, depending on how many years you've been in the program, over the course of the year, which is very doable. And we've had great success with parents that have been with us for a couple of years, done the classes, have figured out what they need to do, and then they don't need us anymore. And, it's funny, people oftentimes will say, "Oh, is the goal to go, you got 1,000 kids this year, is the goal for 2,000?" I'm like, "No, the goal is zero. I I'd love to put us out of business, but obviously we know that that's never gonna happen. But if we can help the parents stand on their own feet a little bit better, then I think that helps us all as a community."
It certainly does, and the classes help. It helps an awful lot of people get back on their feet. And actually, I've met somebody who was in the program uh, and turned things around, and now volunteers with the program.
Yeah.
So it has just been fabulous. So as we
Yes.
wrap up, any last comments, Kelly?
Well, I think kind of the big thing really is, so this is my last year sharing Christmases for kids. It's been so much fun. I've been involved with the program, like I said, since 1993. So what we decided as a board that we would do in order to really be able to push the organization forward and give us the focus that we need, because so many of us are still working full time, and no matter how efficient we try to work, it's really tough to carve out another really solid 40 hours a week for any of us to do what needs to be done. So 3 weeks ago, we hired a new executive director. His name is Dwayne Simmons. He's from Plainville. He comes to us with 20 years of nonprofit experience. He's phenomenal. He's been pretty much attached to my hip for almost 3 weeks now. Poor thing. I know. He's like, "Where are we going next? What are we doing?" Um, and he was with the Boys and Girls Club. He was with another great organization, called Scores, where they married, athletics with poetry. He was recognized by President Obama for, his work with youth poetry. He's a musician. He's just really a fun guy to be with. I really am enjoying being with him and training him and getting him up to speed on kind of the knowledge and culture and everything of the organization. And I think he's just going to be wonderful. So I feel really good about, as I'm sort of passing the reins off to the next person, that he has already such passion for what we do. And he's excited to meet everybody and he'll be spent. You'll see him a lot at the drop off center and around town as I go around and introduce him to everybody I know that he should know.
Well, I look forward to meeting him. But the most important thing is, Kelly, we don't know how to say thank you. Thank you to you, your family, because you sucked them in. I mean, you volunteered them in to get there, Alan, and it's just been a fabulous time, and I appreciate you letting me be part of it.
Oh
So,
my
folks,
goodness, it's been great. Thank you.
check out Christmas is for Kids. Any information you need, you can reach out to us here at the Chamber. You saw the website, and I look forward to seeing you at some point at Emerald Square Mall when you're dropping stuff off for Christmas is for Kids. Big shout out to James and the team over there at AACS for putting up with me every week. We really appreciate it. Kelly Fox, thank you for all you do, and thanks for taking the time to join me on the show today.
Thanks, Jack.
All right, everybody, be safe.